have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Fear itself. Where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
We shall fight with growing confidence and growing strength in the air. We shall never surrender.
My prepper brothers and sisters, you've arrived at the bunker. Grab a cup of joe, a stout tea, or maybe your favorite adult beverage. This is the prepper's place for open discussion on whatever the hell we want. Brought to you whatever the hell way we want. This is the new format of Top's Bunker. So sit down, kick back, post up, relax, and welcome to the bunker.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. Military-industrial complex.
And we as a people will get to the promised land.
We will make America strong again, proud again, safe again. We will make America great again.
Preppers, survivalists, off-gridders, homesteaders, and the like. Welcome to Top's Bunker, a podcast for preppers. Leave a voicemail to get on the show, speakpipe.com/tops, or use the live message option on our Facebook group, Top's Bunker. Email us at shtf@topsbunker.com and visit the site, topsbunker.com. I want to thank y'all for joining us. We got a great show for you tonight. Tonight, Rhonda and I are joined by our brand new show hosts, Jeremy and Buddy. And we're going to dive into a topic that's perfect for this time of year, fall and winter seasonal gardening. Because as the days grow shorter and the air becomes crisp, many gardeners may think it's time to pack away their tools and wait for spring. But hold on, there's so much more we can do in our gardens during the fall and winter months to keep our green spaces and greenhouses thriving. From planting cold hardy vegetables like kale and spinach to preparing our soil for the next growing season, there's no shortage of tasks that can keep us busy and our gardens productive. Maybe you only have a few pots sitting on your apartment balconies and windowsills to work with, or maybe you have a raised bed garden in the yard. Maybe you're fortunate enough to have a greenhouse at your disposal. We'll talk about all that. Tonight we'll be exploring the best practices for extending your gardening season, tips for protecting plants from frost, and how to make the most of this quieter time in your garden to plan and dream for the seasons ahead. So whether you're a seasoned gardener looking to expand your knowledge or someone new to the world of gardening, listen up because we got expert insights, practical advice, and maybe a little inspiration to keep your garden green and productive through these chillier months. Let's get to it. So, Buddy, you're on, and Jeremy, you're here. Rhonda's here. I'm here. All four of us are here.
All right.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good. Doing fine.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Everybody sounds good, too. Yeah.
Let's get to it.
So tonight we're talking about fall and winter gardening. And I know I'm going to have some questions because you guys are the expert, Buddy and Jeremy, you guys are the expert gardeners around here. And Rhonda's pretty good. She's doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I am way behind the curve here. But so I'm going to have a lot of questions. So how do you guys want to, for our listeners, where should we start so that people understand where they are in the world and what they can do and what they're capable of doing and success rather than failures? Where do we start?
We need to start with a little chart that the USDA came out with. It's called the USDA Hardiness Zones. And it's a great tool. So, and it sets all the guidelines out. So it'll tell you when you can plant in your area. And it's not an exact science, but it's pretty close to it. With the hardiness zones, along with your frost dates and your hard freeze dates and things of those natures, it helps you set up for success. I mean, along with your farmer's almanac or reading the stars. I mean, those kind of things will help you out.
Yeah, we're gonna try and put that in the show notes. Rhonda, you're gonna have to show me how that works. I'm not really sure, but if you're listening now and you're able to get to the show notes, you could probably pull it up. I'm not sure. Is that how it works? It's gonna actually pull it up while you're listening.
So I just looked at it, and they actually have it where you can download now. So you choose your state and your territory, and whether you want the regular quality or high quality download.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cool.
Okay. Good. Well, we'll put that in the links to the show notes so that you guys everybody can check it out.
Yeah. I
mean, if people just want to pull it up and look at their zone, I mean, it's specific to them, and it being interactive like that, then it's a really good tool to use.
That's crazy looking.
Yeah, it's I'd call it a raindrop or waterfall. I mean, you could have somebody. I mean, I know people that are 2 hours away that are in total different, zones
right.
For me.
It's wild because in the Missouri zone, it's green, but there's a little tiny round dot right in the middle of Missouri, which is kind of like right where we live. I wonder if that's the Ozarks or the Ozark Lakes right there.
It's not an exact science either. It's a guide. It's basically what it is. It's not, hard and fast rule.
I think it's a good starting place because a lot of people, they don't understand what they can and can't grow in a certain area. Like I'm in area 8A. That's my zone. And when you start going out to where we live here on the eastern side of the country, and we're a coastal state, the stuff that they could grow in, say, like, Ohio or places like that, we can't grow here because our soil is just sand and loam and whatever luck brings us.
Well, what I don't see on this map are the A and B.
This map does not have the subzones, I guess, but there's not much difference in the subzones. And a lot of this has to do with also the way the sun sets across at different seasons and stuff too. So there's other maps for that, but they play this into that a little bit, along with just the terrain, vegetation.
On the USDA.gov website, you can actually find the hardiness zone map and plug in your zip code, and it'll zero in on your zip code and tell you what your subzone is.
Yeah, that's cool. That's definitely cool. I'd use that. But I can see, Jeremy, what you're talking about, because you're over there in North Carolina, right? And that's still the 8 section, but 8 goes all the way down to West Texas.
Yes, it does.
I mean, there's no way you can grow the same stuff in West Texas that you could in where you're at. I can't see that happening.
Well, you should see my jalapenos. They're pretty good.
Nice. We've been growing jalapenos in our kitchens for years now. So this is the first time we actually did it in a garden.
Well, one of the cool things is with this map, you go to the store or you go online and you order some seeds, and you actually read the back of the seed. It'll tell you what zone is hardiest at. So if you got something that says the hardy zones are 3, 4, and 5, and you're in 9, might not grow in your area. That's a pro tip. But for beginners, that's something I learned the hard way back a long time ago. There's some nice stuff I see on the front of a seed catalog or a seed packet. Well, it just doesn't grow in my area.
You went to like legit universities for this stuff.
Yeah, I've had a lot of formal training in this area. First came out of the Army, I got really bored and needed to keep my idle hands busy. So I ended up going and seeking out a lot of different trainings and went down the rabbit hole in a lot of different things. And it was fun. I learned a lot, and I think I've put a lot of it to use. And it's a lot. But at the end of the day, it's all trial and error. You don't have to go out and get formal training, but man, it's there for you if you need it.
The map I'm looking at is a simplified one, and it only has the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And it lists the extreme temperature and the minimum temperature. But when I found the other map that has the A's and B's on it, it's the same thing. It just has each number split between A and a B, with A being on the top, B on the bottom for anyone that hasn't seen the map. I have a question, though. I see that these are by year. So do these zones change over the years?
It will change over decades. And it's just, you got your pole shift and we tilt a little bit. And plus, what do they call it these days? Oh yeah, climate change. It was, there's different things that affect it. And I've learned in the last 6-8 years about the USDA that there's some wokeness in there. So they'll play the game.
I wonder if El Nino and La Nina play a part in this map.
I went to school with them when I was a kid.
El Nino.
La Nina definitely changed the weather this year for sure. There's no doubt. The winter was much milder. The summer was way hotter. We had like weeks and weeks of rain. It was just a crazy year weather-wise.
I think that they had to come up with, and this may be shooting off in the dark, but they had to come up with a way to be able to label the temperature changes that also didn't make any sense. So for instance, last winter, there were records being set, further west and, northwest. But this summer, it's summertime. It's no matter where you are for some place, it's gonna get stank hot, and it's just gonna be that way. This year was particularly hot. And I think
Texas was wicked hot this year.
Oh my God. When I was traveling, yes, it was. And when I got back here, I got back to the house and I was like, who ordered this? This is this is trash. But we're due for a very, very hard winter. And I'm really hoping we get one because the fleas and the ticks and the mosquitoes have been horrible this year.
Mosquitoes are bad right now. We got hit with ticks in our region. I mean, it was so bad. Every single day, Rhonda and I were pulling 10, 12 off every day. It was horrible.
They were falling out of the trees here.
Man, it's crazy.
And I'm personally, the other day, I was out working on the hunting property. I got back here. I didn't think to spray my pants down. And I had changed. So the next day, I was working in our closet, just doing some cleaning. And all of a sudden, I started feeling like I was getting bit up. Now my entire upper torso from my waistline up to my neck is covered in chigger bites.
Oh, yeah. We need a freeze, man. We need a big freeze this winter to get rid of all this stuff.
Yes. Hardcore.
Where I'm sitting today, it topped 100. And we went out to the range yesterday and ended up testing some ammo we reloaded. And I came home and I think I had 15 to 16 ticks that I pulled off, little bitty seed ticks. So yeah, come on, freeze.
So, buddy, we're not giving your position away. Are you in the upper or what quadrant of Oklahoma are you in?
7.
No,
I'm in
not on the
Central.
map.
Central.
Right in the middle. Okay, gotcha. Rhonda goes through there all the time. Probably drives right past your house every.
She can come buy me food. Lunch is always good.
My lunch when I'm driving is usually jalapeno flavored Cheetos and cream soda.
Oh, there you go.
That is such a Texas thing. Oh my gosh, cream soda. I grew up in San Antonio, and I can clearly remember the horrifying trips to Big Red Factory.
Oh God.
Oh man.
I'm surprised it's not cream soda, Dr. Pepper.
Well, Dr. Pepper's an everyday thing. Going on a road trip, it's a special thing. So I get cream soda.
Yeah.
I'm actually drinking Dr. Pepper right now.
Nice. You can get it there?
Yeah, it's weird, man. They got these grocery stores out here.
Oh man. Yeah, I didn't know because when I lived in New York for a while and you couldn't get Dr. Pepper. You can get was that Mr.
Pibb? Yep.
I think it's moving north.
It should. I mean, it is healthy. It's got all those, peppers in it and things. And the doctor made it, so I mean, it's got to be healthy. It needs to be there.
So we talked about all the insects that were eating us as humans. What about the insects that are eating up my garden?
Oh Lord, I would love to take a stab at that. Starting with tomatoes. My ultra enemy, the bane of my existence, which is hornworms. So we had to do a lot of learning on this one. And a couple of years ago, a buddy of mine came over and he found one. And I was like, what in the hell is that thing? He's like, well, that's what's eating your tomatoes. And that night, we had a couple drinks, and he brought over a black light, and we went out to the garden and started finding these things at night with a black light. And we pluck them off, smash them, and when you smash them, of course, it looks like chem light juice. But that became such a regular thing that the population of hornworms, was reduced significantly. That's where it kind of started for us. And then we decided that we really wanted to step away from chemical insecticides, and we started looking for more natural products, and it's actually stuff that we could take from our own garden and make. We still use diatomaceous earth, and we still use like Seven Dust if it gets bad enough. But we started taking the bottom leaves of our tomatoes. We soak them in water overnight, and you're basically making a tea. But that tea is full of tannins because tomatoes are within the nightshade family. And you just put that with a touch of Dawn soap and start spraying it on your plants, and you can see the evacuation of insects just hauling ass out of there.
Wow.
All right, so yeah, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty right there. We got cut off, so we were back on now again. Buddy, why don't we talk about catalogs? Let's run through some of the stuff that you're interested in.
Okay, so I like a hard copy of a seed catalog. I'm kind of old school like that, to where I actually like something in hand to look at. So I like to order these catalogs from different companies, and they're very educational as well. It's not just a picture of a seed and a price. I mean, they have articles in there and planting tips, and it's pretty nice, and they do a good job with them. And so every year I get the different catalogs for the different seasons, and I love it. I feel like a little kid again. My favorite one is Johnny's Seed. They do an excellent job with the catalogs, and I buy it in bulk from them, get a little price break, and they just do an excellent job. And their education side of it is awesome. I mean, you don't have to go out and go to an agriculture university to learn what they teach online. The great videos, great instruction. So I love Johnny's. Burpees is another one. You see them at Tractor Supply, Home Depot. They sell at Lowe's, other places like that. But Burpees has a good catalog. They also, do the education in there, and it's a nice catalog. Another one from Vermont, and a lot of their stuff is specific to that area, the New England states, but it's called High Mowing, like you're out there mowing your grass. It's called High Mowing, and they have some phenomenal products and seed and education wise too. You see, I'm kind of the theme here for me is the education part of it. So I like
Right.
You can buy you can buy seed from anybody, but it's the education end that's that little step beyond that I enjoy. And then Baker Creek, I believe they're out of Missouri. Awesome company. They do their catalog is like top notch. I mean, the pictures on there, do a lot of flowers and stuff as well. So for the ladies out there or the guys that like flowers, like myself, you can get some exotic stuff to grow too. So with Baker Creek, and then I like True Leaf for my microgreens. And you can buy supplies for them for your trays for your microgreens, and all different kinds of crazy microgreens like mustard seed, Russian red kale, just some crazy stuff that you wouldn't think about eating just the leaf on it. But radishes even, Anyways, I love catalogs. I love to that part of it, and mainly the education part.
Okay. All right. Jeremy, did you have anything on the catalog side, or where do you buy your seeds or get your seeds from?
There's one website that I really like because they're local here to North Carolina. It's called So True Seed. It's an all-woman led team, and they're actually in Asheville, North Carolina, but their plant, or their storefront, I should say, is within the Cherokee Nation boundaries. And but they've got some really, really good heirloom seeds for our particular zone, because they're only a few hours away from me. And I love being able to go through, look at the different stuff that they have, and everything that they do have is non-GMO. It's all heirloom. You know you're getting good stuff. Sometimes it's mislabeled, but that's neither here nor there. But I really like them. And there is another company that I haven't tried, but I would like to try, and it's called Rare Seeds. And they're out of Baker Creek. So,
Okay. So touching on that point that you were just talking about with between heirloom, non-GMO, and just your regular seeds that are out there, uh, you guys can explain a little bit better. But from what I understand, the heirloom seeds are going to give you a better product, and they're non-GMO, genetically modified organism. And so what you're saying is the stuff that you would buy in a grocery store, more or less, is GMO, right? It's not heirloom. So if you take stuff from the store, you eat it, and then you take those seeds, you may or may not be able to grow. Is that what you're saying?
well, I would say that learning from experience, what we would do is in our particular Walmart, and I don't know if this is every Walmart, our Walmart actually carries a lot of local farm crops. And we have taken, say, for instance, the bell peppers. We have saved those seeds and we have grown them. Um, and like your green bell peppers that are grown around here, they come out and they're green bell peppers. However, some of the different varieties and some of the stuff that we've tried just to experiment with didn't really take. And in a lot of grocery stores, like for instance, you go to, like, say, for instance, Walmart, or you go to Tractor Supply, or go to places like that, you really do have to look at the seed that you're buying. If it doesn't say heirloom, non-GMO, it's probably going to be a crossbreed of vegetable. Not to say that it's not edible, not to say that it's not, that it's a bad thing. It's just that that particular plant was crossbred with another plant to produce either a hardier or, say, a larger looking tomato. A lot of the tomatoes that are heirloom, they're not attractive tomatoes. They taste really good. But like, for instance, Cherokee purples, people see them and they're like, dude, what the hell is wrong with that tomato? It's the most amazing tomato there is. But it your stuff that is heirloom is from a plant whose seeds were harvested. Those seeds become new plant, which you again take the seed from that plant and you continue this process. So essentially you're regrowing the same plant over and over and over again, and it's a pure seed that has not had any interference from another vegetable or something along those lines.
Right. So that makes sense. So you definitely want to go with heirloom or at least non-GMO if you can.
Yes.
We'll most likely only do, and I think so far we've only done non-GMO. We've tried a few things with some
Yeah.
other stuff too. Rhonda, you
Mhm.
can jump in on that if you wanted to.
Well, yeah, we watch out for the organic seeds. We try to use the organic and non-GMO seeds.
Mhm.
Right. Hmm.
Yep.
Great. All
Yeah.
right, guys. So if we can, let's jump over to fall winter crops. I think that's what everybody's really waiting to hear is what they can grow right now and maybe get a harvest out of, in the next month or two or three.
All right. Well, I'll start out here and tell you a few of the ones that I'm personally going to grow. On the herbal side of it, I like cilantro and basil, and I'll start them. I'll do a crop outside because now's about the time it'll start to hit before the first frost. And then I also do some hydroponic inside. I got a gift last year for Christmas that does a little hydroponic garden the herbs work great there with it. So I'll have that. And that's just another technique you can use, inside. And we'll talk about some of that later. I like to do broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, Swiss chard is another one I like. And cabbage, spinach, winter squash, pumpkin, which I'm a little late on that. So potatoes and onions will grow here almost all year round. Kohlrabi, garlic, carrots will do well. Turnips, radishes. But
What was that weird word you said? I'm
kohlrabi.
sorry. What is that?
Oh, it's It's used a lot in, like, I think the Vietnamese use a lot, Asian dishes and stuff. I'm trying to think of something that's like it, but it's different.
You were saying that you can grow potatoes some places potatoes all year round, like in the cold.
Yeah, it depends on your techniques you use. I actually grew some last spring in a bucket full of just straw, and I threw some compost in with it and a little bit of topsoil, just sprinkle it in with so it have a little bit more nutrients. And didn't get a bumper crop like I would in the ground, but it actually worked.
We're on our second crop of potatoes right now.
Yeah, and so it's something that you get in the right zones. You can do the potatoes and onions. Same thing with onions. I've seen people in my zone, which is 7A, plant in the middle of December. Will plant there before Christmas. They'll plant their onions, and then plant another one about March. And it's crazy. You think, well, that shouldn't work, because that's not what my grandpa did. But
Right, yeah.
if you educate, I keep going back to the education part of it. You educate yourself with your zone, and you know what's going around in your zone, and you're honed into your crop and your area, and educate yourself on what and where, when, and why, and how to do it. You're gonna grow stuff all year round. And I understand that if you're in like zone 3 or 4, you're definitely not gonna grow certain things in the middle of winter unless you bring it inside with a lot of heat. But
right.
It's just all education.
Before I get to Jeremy, Rhonda, you want to tell everybody what we grew starting last week?
We picked out the seeds that would grow in our zone during the winter and sprouted those over the last week. And I think we're growing winter squash, a couple of different kinds of radishes, broccoli, not beets. What are those other things? Turnips. Yeah, thank you, turnips. And
we like the turnip greens.
Okay, that I accept that.
Yeah, and we have some.
Man, I'll tell you what, Rhonda cooks turnip greens like I can't even tell you, man. I'll eat that stuff I'll just eat it till it's gone, the whole pot. Yeah. It's just amazing.
Yes.
We also
the
have
turnip part is a no-no.
I don't think I could eat the turnip part. There's got to be some kind of use for it. Maybe it drives off critters or something.
We also planted kale. I think you forgot to mention that one. And did we plant broccoli or not?
We did plant some broccoli, and we have some elephant garlic that's been growing for a while. That's a winter or a fall harvest.
That's right. Excellent. So, Jeremy, how about you? What are you growing this time of year?
Well, we are on our second crop of potatoes. We actually, pretty much as soon as we pulled up the first one, we learned a hard lesson about how much to water the potatoes, because we were pulling up these tiny little, potato nuggets basically, and we realized we were overwatering.
Same here. So you're saying that's what we did? They were tiny, man. They were like the size of golf balls or less.
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, I learned we reduced our watering to 1 day a week, and you only give them just a little bit, and then you move on. Too much watering actually causes them to grow small, and you got to think about like potatoes, where when people started eating them and all those kinds of things, they can grow in almost anything. We're doing that. They're starting to come up pretty nicely, green up, but we have had a lot of rain as well, so we're dealing with that. But radishes is probably one of my absolute favorite things. My problem is I take them out of the ground, I wash them, and I eat them.
Don't make it to the house.
Oh, they're great. Because I love putting, it's something I did in Afghanistan for some unknown reason, but I used to put lemon juice on them with some salt and just go to town.
I have a hard time walking through our greenhouse and not just every time we're in there, I'm pulling off peppers and eating them. And
that's why we grow cherry tomatoes.
Peppers. I just love it. I love it. Oh, cherry tomatoes all day.
Yeah, that's why we actually grow them, because while we're doing our other stuff, we just grab a couple of tomatoes and start smacking down on them.
Nice.
Yeah. We are going to retry broccoli. We realized that like a lot of the stuff that, people talk about putting in the ground during the spring and all that, I honestly think that that's actually what caused a lot of our infestation, especially with cabbage. Cabbage crops were totally destroyed. So we're going to try our cabbage as it gets, colder here. Um, Cauliflower is good. I mean, it's a good crop to. I don't know. You can do a lot of different things with it, but it's a good base for a lot of different things because we do a ton of soups in the winter.
Right.
The lettuce,
Exactly.
the lettuces will do well here in the cold. We grow onions year round, and we actually propagate our onions. So we will save the bottom portion of our onions. You just kind of cut it up a little bit and let that rooty part kind of open up. Put that in some water. Wait for that to develop into a little spud, and then we get it into soil. And we've actually been growing the same onions now for quite some time. Um,
Did
but
not know
again,
that.
yeah, it's pretty handy. They don't grow like you would normally see like your onions in the store. It grows really long and tall. So it basically you have that white onion that you started out with, but we actually end up with basically a scallion, for lack of a better term. The thing is that they're like an inch to an inch and a half wide, and we actually take those, we shred them up, and we cook with that as our onion base for soups, and it's really really good. Slimy,
Nice.
but they are
Nice.
slimy. Um, Arugula, is it a vegetable? Um, I do want to try that. We had a neighbor who traded some vegetables with us for that, and they're amazing. It has this really interesting flavor. Carrots, love carrots, and there's just a lot of different things um, that we want to try, but we still have a lot to learn about late season gardening. A lot of our stuff here, because North Carolina is kind of unpredictable at times, being a coastal state, we have wild storms that will come up from the coastline, and then we'll have wild storms that come from the north. So those two things meet, and our soil here, for lack of a better term, sucks. So, switching to buckets this last year has been pretty miraculous for us.
Right, and that's kind of a segue into the next thing I wanted to ask about would be gardening techniques. And now we're going to do many shows probably on gardening, okay, especially with you guys being experts at it. So what would be some good techniques that we could use for this time of year, and even maybe even into winter, gardening techniques wise?
Well, there's several different techniques you can use, and a lot of them are really low cost, and that's something to keep in mind. There's a variety of stuff that you can use and build, and just use stuff that's laying around your house you already have, or laying around your shop. One of the things I love to use is a cold frame, and it's just a piece of glass and some wood, and it's not very tall. You can make them, no more than a foot tall, foot and a half, with a glass frame on top. You can use plastic, and what it does is just extends your season out. It protects the plant from the cold and the snow and the frost, but it's the glass will help warm it up. It's a great technique to use. Go online, go on the interwebs and Google cold frames and how to build one, and bam, you can build them from just stuff laying around the house. You might have to go out to a flea market or marketplace and get a piece of glass, or like I said, you can use plastic too. But very, very good technique to use for a lot of leafy vegetables. One of the things I love to do is to overwinter my peppers. So I'll take my hardiest pepper plant and I'll bring it inside. And with that, you just don't bring it inside in the container it's in, or you'll bring in bugs. What you want to do is you'll take it and you'll cut it back all the way to a nub, a couple inches above the soil level, and take off all the dirt. You wash it off real good. You get some neem oil and wash it with the neem oil, spray it down real good, and then take Blue Dawn, wash it off, rinse it off real well, and then replant it. And I mean, basically from that point, you replant it with some fresh soil, or I would say go buy a new bag of soil for it, and put it by just by one of your windows, and keep it alive for the winter. Once a week, throw about a cup of water on it, and just basically keep it alive. And then add more water as it gets closer to the spring. And you'll see it start to grow and come alive again. So yeah, that's a great technique.
That's awesome. We're gonna do
peppers. And then you can use a hoop house or a greenhouse, and that's one of those. If you're very wealthy, a greenhouse is awesome to use. And the difference between the two is a hoop house is usually covered in plastic, usually a 6 mil, MIL 6 mil plastic, and it's usually you have arches, and there's different things, ways to make them. Usually they're not heated, but you can heat them. Compared to the greenhouse, which is glass paned, heated and cooled, and water spraying, and very expensive to make and have and own. But if you can do it, man. But the hoop house,
our greenhouses are hoop houses. Since you're telling me the description of them now, we call it a greenhouse, but we bought it and it said greenhouse, but it's technically what you're saying is a hoop house.
Yes,
and it works really nice. I like it.
Oh yeah, and it's great for extending the season. So you can put crops in it, early in the spring, earlier than you could put outside in the ground, and then also it's great for the early start or in the fall and over winter in some areas. Want to look out for in your different zones. If you're in a zone that has a lot of snowfall, you got to watch snowfall with the hoop houses, because they'll crash it down for you. But a lot of people, and it's a constant maintenance thing with the hoop houses, but it's well worth it, I think. And you can heat those up too, and that's something. And there's some techniques with compost bins in the center of your hoop house. I've seen guys heat up to like 90 degrees in their hoop houses, in a small hoop house.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's a whole nother thing. I mean, I was amazed, but
it doesn't smell very fresh though.
No, but it's effective. And then, under your cabinet grow lights, I like to do what they call microgreens, little mini salads underneath my grow lights. So underneath my cabinets, I have lights. I took out all of the lights that were underneath and put LED grow lights in it. So that helps my crops grow for the winter. And so now I got these little microgreen salads all winter long that are very tasty, if you're into the salads.
That's very cool. I'm going to look into that.
So when you cut the tops off of those to eat, does the bottom go in the trash, or does it grow back?
You just leave the tray there, and you need to overseed it periodically to keep the crop growing. And your water, you're basically spritzing it with spritzer, just a water.
So you're not soaking them down.
No, if you soak them down, you're going to get mold, and you'll figure that out pretty quick that you don't want that. But you spritz them, daily. Every once in a while, you might pour quarter cup of water in with it just to kind of help it out. And sometimes you'll feed them with some fertilizer, some stuff. But that, I mean, you go on the interwebs and Google that, and man, it's, I don't know, if you're into that kind of thing, it's very tasty.
And chickens go absolutely crazy over microgreens.
Yes, yes. And I have, I can tell that story at a later date. But now, next thing is a grow tent. So these grow tents, you can get into one for about $100, and you can outfit it out with grow lights and heaters and fans and all the things you need for this to be successful. For this grow tent, and you stick it in your garage or stick it in the spare room if you have one, or in the corner of your kitchen. if you get a smaller size one, and you can grow out of them all winter long. I start all my starts and about mid-January, early February. I'll do all my starts for the early spring crops out of the grow tent in the garage. And I just have a little heater in there, fan, like I said, and just it's fabulous, man. And
I've seen those very inexpensive on Amazon.
yeah, I actually priced one out, and that might be something we can put in the show notes. But roughly, you can get in it and outfit it with all the things you need from about $150 to $400, depending on how sexy you want it to be. They're awesome.
Right.
But the last thing is there's different hydroponic things you can buy in your house to grow over the wintertime too. Like for instance, last year for Christmas, I got this little hydroponic herbal garden, and it's got a little light on top, and it's crazy how fast this grows. It's a hydroponic thing. And how easy it is. No maintenance, no watering. Every once in a while, you need to add some water to the little reservoir. But that's another technique you can use. And I can go into the weeds with hydroponic systems.
Yeah, I want to talk about hydroponics on another episode. That's something
Definitely.
That's really cool. I'm really interested in that. I think maybe some of our listeners might be as well. What I wanted to ask you real quick, since you are master composting, is we just started our compost, and we actually did what you guys were saying not to do. I don't think we said it on air, but that was to use our crops that we pull out, the dead, the stuff that we're not using anymore, and you put it into the compost. You're saying not to do that because of bugs. What I want to ask you is, how do we make soil basically out of compost over the winter time? Is there a way to do that? Using grass cuttings or anything we can use from the woods or something.
Yeah, you're gonna get me going down to Nerdville right now because I nerd out over the soil science stuff and composting. So
just give me the quick version. How about
the quick down and dirty about and no pun intended there with the compost is you can take food scraps. You got to watch food scraps, and no dairy, no meat, no like protein type stuff, your veggies, rinse them off if you have ranch dressing or something on it or whatever. Throw them in a little container underneath your sink or whatever, and then when the bucket, about 2.5 gallon bucket gets full, take it out to your compost pile. Now, compost, you got your greens and your browns, and so it's another thing you can Google, and I'm telling you, I can go into the weeds in depth with this, but you just go out there and water it a little bit. You throw the stuff in a pile, you mix it up with a pitchfork or a shovel or whatever you have, and magically it turns into soil that you can plant with that's just totally rich in all the nutrients and all the stuff you need to grow your great plants. And
so any grass clippings I might use, like for my final cut, any brown stuff, I've got wood chips that I can use from my sawmill. I've heard you can use brown paper bags and even boxes if it doesn't have labeling, if it doesn't have like shiny stuff on it, as your browns. But you're saying you can use all this, put it and work it through the wintertime to have soil, so you don't have to actually go buy a bag or two of soil in the spring.
Yes, and the thing is, you have to have a certain temperature. It's got to come to a certain temperature, which is going to be harder in the dead of winter than it would be in the spring and the fall. And that's what gets the little microbials in there to do their thing, to break down the stuff. But yeah, you can add it to it, and then when it gets to the certain, the atmosphere is right, perfect, and all the stars and moons are aligned, and for the microbials to get in there and do their thing.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, like I said, I can nerd out on that and go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, but I know you're running out of time, and that's cool. Jeremy, do you compost?
I do. But because of the way that our soil is here, our county has every spring they started up where you can get literal construction yard full of their compost dirt. It's filtered, But what we do in our composting is, say, for instance, like our chicken scraps, no meat, no anything that is not vegetable matter doesn't go in there. But we also include our coffee grounds. And what we do is our compost is for soil supplementation. It's to kind of boost what we already have. And if we are going to do in-ground planting, we have to have that supplementation. So like we'll take our chicken eggs and we'll throw them into the oven, dry them out really, really well, put them into the blender, turn them into a dust, and we add that in there. And we don't get grass clippings, but what we do is at the end of the year when we're, like raking up all the leaves, we'll take those leaves, we'll dump them in there in a portion. No pine, that's a big thing. And you were talking about putting wood shavings and stuff like that in there. Always shoot for hardwoods. Try to stay away from pine. Pine is very, very acidic.
That's all we got, man. That's all we got is oak. That's it. We are surrounded by oak trees. All I cut is oak.
So you can take those things and as that starts to heat up naturally, we have our bin actually, like you turn a handle and it gets to moving and it gets to going. And then about once a month, I'll take a shovel and I'll put some fresh, black soil in there and keep that churning and keep that churning. And when it gets ready to, to make the time to actually pull it out, it's this stinky black, kind of soil looking substance. Is very wet most of the time. But what we do is we take the soil that we bring in and we supplement that with the compost that we've been harvesting and get that all together. The chicken eggs are really, really good for calcium. But a lot of the stuff that we put in there, we do have to be cautious what you put in your compost. Because if it killed a plant and you put it into your compost in a nice warm environment, there's a probability that it might be sticking around. So some of that stuff you've got to burn. You can't put it in your compost.
So as a general rule, you were telling me that off air, you were telling me that it's probably not a good idea to put your cuttings from your garden into the compost because it may have bugs or some kind of a sickness to it that you don't want in your compost.
Yeah, and a lot of that is your squash variety and plants that are related to squash. We, like, for instance, we tried to grow our pumpkins. Vine borers got into them. We just pulled them up out of the ground and we went ahead and burned them. Squash and zucchini and all of those kind of plants that are subjected to insects that bore inside of the main stalk, not necessarily the vegetable, but the actual stalk. You'll have a lot of, and it does it to cucumbers too. You'll have misshapen cucumbers. You'll have a zucchini that just, you're like looking at it, you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? And if you look at the bottom where the stalk is coming up out of the ground, if you start finding holes, there's a good probability that you have vine borers. So, and
keep an eye out for that.
It's really hard to keep them out, and it's also once it's happened, it's really hard to try to save that plant. So, yep. And
unfortunately, we are running out of time. Was there anything else that you wanted to throw in today, Rhonda or Jeremy, or I don't know? I think Buddy had to jump.
The only thing I have left is for techniques. This is the time of year when you want to really get into your aerating your soil, getting it loose, and starting your supplementation in your natural soil and the stuff that you're bringing in. Having loose soil is extremely important, especially when it comes to container crops.
Okay, yeah, that's really good to know. And we did get a pitchfork, so we can do that. Rhonda, you got anything?
No, I don't have anything fast. I'll have to wait till another episode.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, and I'm still with you too. So.
Oh, there's Buddy. Okay. Well, I guess does anybody else have anything for the show?
Keep on growing.
Keep on growing.
Keep on growing.
My Prepper brothers and sisters, as we prepare to bid farewell to the warmer days of autumn and embrace the cooler days of winter, remember that your garden doesn't have to hibernate. There are plenty of opportunities to continue nurturing your garden through the seasons ahead. Whether you're mapping out next year's garden layout or planning your spring crops, the mission, should you accept it, is simple. Don't let your garden die just because it's a little cold outside. Overcome the challenges of the fall and winter seasons and set the stage for a vibrant and bountiful garden come spring. Stay prepped, stay happy, thanks for listening, and good night.